So, Yoshi P told us not to no-life the island sanctuary. Yoshi P doesn't pay my sub, so of course I completely ignored those instructions.
But if you do want to pay my sub, we can work something out.
There's a bunch of guides out there full of garbage information or boring, long-winded math stuff that probably makes 95% of you want to drift off into G-Post land, so let me take a few minutes to help explain the mechanics of your island sanctuary so that you can get your great value brand Finnerer bike, the Dirt Veggie family, that sick ponytail, your farmer's only catfishing glam, or whatever else convinced you to stop doing ERP with the twins' mom for 10 minutes to check out this casual grind content. First off, do not spend any blue calories until everything is built and upgraded first. Doing the tutorial steps, building the first few buildings, appears to give you a decent early amount of blue calories. But that is a lie. Those freaking mammoths are handing you a prison candy bar. They give you a little taste of the good stuff up front for free, and then you turn back around and you owe them 20,000 blue calories back, or else they hold your freaking island hostage until you pay. I'm fairly certain if you continue to hold out for too long, they'll come get their payment in blood by shanking you as you rest on the dirty cot in the corner of your hovel behind the trap house bagman's counter. But let's not risk it. Don't spend any blue calories until everything is built and upgraded. Gathering. Do the bare minimum. Seriously, do the very bare minimum. If you're going to grind anything, stock up on seeds, apples, and trap materials. If you have more than 40 of anything else, that's probably more than you're ever going to need in a pinch. Green calories are literally useless to intentionally grind for right now, and that's coming from a no-lifer who did the 30,000 note achievement before the end of week 3. If you choose to ignore my advice for healthy people, and instead want to dive right in at maximum degenerate levels, then these are the spots to grind out levels 10 agonizingly small EXP points at a time until your eyes start to bleed and your carpal tunnel flares back up in a major way. Pastures and trapping. So there are 29 different animals you can kidnap on your island so that you can harvest leavings from their bodies to give your island robot taskmasters for their workshop activities. If you're an ethical digital vegan, you might have a problem with this content. 12 are classified as small, 9 are classified as medium, and 8 are classified as large. Each size class requires a different trap type. There are also different levels of spawn availability. 12 are always available, 7 are time-based spawns, every 3 hours there's a new one, 5 are weather-dependent spawns, and 5 are both time and weather-dependent spawns. Obviously, this is a giant pain in the butt, so if you want to collect all of the rare ones, have fun waking up at 3:42 a.m. local time to throw 8 nets at Twinkle Fleece, have it run away giggling, and then have a crappy, sleep-deprived, Twinkle Fleece-free rest of your day. Link below with the forecasting of the next 5 spawns for each rare for you sad, no-life degenerates who are going to ignore this advice. For those of you that just want a fast way to get animals into your pasture to exploit for resources that you require, you can get away with collecting these non-rare animals so long as you feed them the good food. Small, 6 Coblyns, 3 Opo-opos, or ground squirrels, they drop the same thing. 2 lost lambs and 2 Apkallu. For the mediums, you want 2 Chocobos, a Glyptodon Pup, and a wild Dodo. And for the larges, you need either 3 Aurochs or 3 island nannies. Either one is fine, they drop the same thing. Gardening. Honestly, the garden is boring and I don't want to talk about it. However, I'm being told that they'll force feed me island radishes until I go over this, so let's just get this over with. You have 20 garden slots, and each time you plant items, it takes 48 hours to mature. Water them once per day. If it's raining while you're on your island, you can skip watering. Essentially, you need the garden to feed your animals, to collect their standard and bonus leavings. Occasionally, you'll craft something that requires garden materials, but those items are typically not priority items. Use 12 of your slots for creating premium island green feed by planting 6 pumpkin seeds and 6 cabbage seeds as the materials. That leaves you 8 slots, and there's 8 other things you could plant. So plant 1 of each and don't think about it anymore for a few cycles. After 5 cycles, you'll have 25 of everything, which is more than enough for a baseline stockpile. At that point, continue to plant the 6 pumpkin seeds and cabbage seeds to continue to produce the required food for your animals, and use the remaining 8 slots to replace anything that you're currently using in the workshop, or if you still have everything over 25, sell it as excess for the extra blue seafarer's calories. The Granary. Let me take this moment to say that the name of this building makes absolutely no sense. On our islands, the only place you can get grains is from your garden, and the granary is where you get rare flowers, logs, gems, precious metal, and strangely enough, sharks. It is, however, the only place you can acquire those 5 rare workshop materials, so despite being absurdly mislabeled, you will need to interact with it regularly. In order to level up your island facilities to max, you'll need 9 raw island garnet, 6 island spruce logs, and 3 island silver ore. So make those first when starting up your granary production. Once that's done, you'll want to work towards having a stockpile of 4 of each of those 5 materials on hand, and then once you've achieved that, 12 of each of those materials on hand. Having 4 on hand will allow you to craft any of the top tier workshop recipes the next day by setting both max level granaries up to bring back the required mats that you'll need that next day. Having 12 of each on hand allows you to just replenish them once you've already spent them. Once you have 12 of each on hand, you'll just maintain a stock of 12 of each rare item, and then you can vendor the excess for the additional blue seafarer's calories. Landmarks. Landmarks are mostly aesthetic. They do give a small bonus to all of the items you create in your workshop, so you do want to eventually create them. However, it does not matter which building design you choose for the landmarks, they all give the exact same bonus. The workshop. If you're here for the rewards, this is where you'll earn the vast majority of the calories needed to buy them. There is a Discord, link below, that will literally tell you what to schedule the next day in the workshop every single day. But for those of you that just want to know how it works, hate Discords, or just want to independently make decisions, I'll show you how to manage your workshop without any Discords, websites, or third-party tools, because I would never condone the use of third-party tools. First off, the workshop week, which is called a season, follows the weekly reset cycle. You're allowed to set items for creation 5 days a week, with 2 days a week required as rest days, because apparently the mammoths have much better representation than anyone else working on this island. You receive higher payment for workshop items created on days where there is increased popularity and reduced supply, with lower supply being the biggest bonus. Demand shift is what tells you which items will have the ideal supply values the next day. Since it resets at the beginning of the cycle, there's no currently known way to track what will shift to an ideal supply on day 1 of the season, so it is the ideal rest day. You'll likely be doing other reset activities that day anyway, so go ahead and assume day 1 will be a rest day on an ongoing basis. You'll want to set the agenda for your workshop each day on the previous day, so you'll assign the agenda for day 2 on day 1. But what do you choose to maximize your calories? Use the supply and demand menu to determine what will be high value tomorrow as an anchor product for the day's agenda. If an item has insufficient supply with skyrocketing demand shift today, it will have non-existent supply tomorrow, which is the ideal. These 5 8-hour rare material products should be prioritized as your anchor product if they don't have low priority. These 3 8-hour products would be 1 tier below that, closely followed by the best 2 6-hour products. If none of these are in sufficient supply with skyrocketing demand, then you may just schedule your second rest day. If you've already scheduled a second rest day, it's probably not a great week. So you're likely making garden-based products like pickled radish, isleberry jam, onion soup, or parsnip salad, which is not ideal. Once you've identified that anchor item, you want to identify an item that you can chain with it for an efficiency bonus. If you make items that share a category, the output and rewards are doubled on every item in the chain that day after the first one. If there happens to be an item you can chain to your anchor that is also insufficient skyrocketing or insufficient increasing, use it. But this is somewhat of a more minor boost to your daily total, so just try to avoid using items that are in surplus or overflowing supply. Common schedules would have one of the following cadences, either 4 hour, 8 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour, 4 4 6 4 6, or 6 6 6 6 8 8 8. Building priority. So update your cabin first whenever any upgrades become available to it. This will allow you to progress the rest of your island. Put up your workshops as quickly as possible after that. If your main priority is getting all the rewards and not becoming mindless slave labor for Tataru's sweatshop supervisor mammoths, then you'll quickly realize that everything on the island is designed to feed these workshops. At first, your options are going to be extremely limited and your rewards are going to come in at a trickle, but eventually you'll be set up to bring in tens of thousands of those sweet, sweet calories every cycle. Next, prioritize the pasture. Leavings recipes are typically more useful than the garden ones, and leavings are a little bit harder to stockpile than the garden items, so expand the pasture and get it filled as quickly as possible. Then focus on the garden and stockpiling mats for feed for your animals as discussed before. After that, build and upgrade the granaries as they power the highest level product recipes that you're ultimately working towards. With any leftover resources, finally you can address the landmarks. The passive bonuses that these give are obviously nice to have, but they are the least important thing to focus on while progressing the construction of your facilities. So, that's all you really need to know to get all that fat loot from the island store quickly while minimizing wasted time along the way. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you all for the next grind.